This year the Queen quite head on the body of the Gullah Geechee Nation. So glad that I wanted to tune into Gullah Geechee TV Nation News Station. This year the Human Rights Day 2012. And we're so glad for day punks to tell Nala in front of this year tree what we call Emancipation Oak. This year a critical time for because most of the Gullah Geechee family and things like that, the 150 years since a family been on the land where it been enslaved on when chattel slavery been going on for Big Shoot to start. During Big Shoot, plenty of we been on the land and things like that. So for the United States government had the Emancipation Proclamation read for the world and things like that, we been done had this year land. Well, your Central Nala, this year been the site of where that emancipation been read on January 1st in 1863. That been right after they read up in Port Royal and things like that. To you. So on this year episode, we gonna crack we teeth. I leave it, but the human rights in the Gullah Geechee Nation, and we continue self-determination. Now, 100 children there with me. Now, 100 going know this year the what going on. Well, how Hunter children to do this year the Queen quit coming to Hunter one more again from historics and telling Ireland for this year issue of Gullah Geechee Nation News. I'm so glad that Hunter to tune into this year visual edition of what we to be, who we to be, and what we to do down here in this year land of the Gullah Geechee. Now, plenty of 100 children will Hunter to see me all around the world and things like that, especially when I'd go into United Nations, who been the leader in making this year the Human Rights Day. Now, many 100 children and crack teeth will read on Gullah Geechee Nation Facebook fan page. Then you done yet about this year Universal Declaration of Human Rights plenty time and things like that. Now, 100 done yet me to talk about we tree what day upon we flag plenty of time and things like that. Now, the tree not did it like the emancipation but the tree still to represent emancipation and things like that. So for a lot of people, when they see me around the world and you see the Gullah Geechee Nation's flag, you have heard me discuss what the colors in our flag represent, and especially that circle and that circle of unity that is there, that is the centerpiece of our existence, that centerpiece of our symbol of recognition as a nation. Just like all other nations of the world, you have flags that their people fly high, not only in their yards, but at their celebrations that lead in their heads of states to places. The same thing goes with the Gullah Geechee Nation's flag. Now, wonderfully, here in the Gullah Geechee Garden, which is part of the Gullah Geechee Sea Island Coalition, which the Gullah Geechee Sea Island Coalition's anniversary is on December the 21st. The Gullah Geechee Sea Island Coalition started in 1996. It is the premier advocacy organization for the rights of Gullah Geechees worldwide. Well, when the Sea Island Coalition began, there was also an organization called the Gullah Geechee People Foundation that was founded by Elder Carleytown, which is our Minister of Information for the Gullah Geechee Nation, and the late Elder Halim Gullah Beamy. God bless the dead. When they founded that organization, they too had a mission in mind of trying to make things more significant in terms of having Gullah Geechee culture represented. So they then commissioned an artist by the name of Angel. And interestingly enough, today the official nonprofit organization or charitable organization for the entire Gullah Geechee Nation is the Gullah Geechee Angel Network. Okay, that organization has come now to be able to provide resources to the community and to work with the community on a number of enterprises. Well, the foundation had a similar mission. And part of their mission in terms of trying to get people to recognize the reality of a unique existence, of a unique ethnicity here in the Gullah Geechee Nation was by making sure that they had something that when people saw it, they could be inspired by it, but they could realize that it also stood for a legacy of a very harsh and brutal time where there's crimes against humanity. That is why we now have to fight for human rights, because people are not always kind to other human beings. They don't expect to treat other human beings in an equal way. However, that is their right. The people have a right to stand up and say, I don't have to accept your brutality and your torture and your crimes against me, but I have a right to stand up for myself and who I don't think like that. So, When you come now to the Gullah Geechee Garden of the Gullah Geechee Sea Island Coalition, not only do we still use the emblem, which is the Gullah Geechee Nation flag, to be represented around the world to show that we are a true organization of native indigenous Gullah Geechee people that founded and operate the Gullah Geechee Angel Network and the Gullah Geechee Sea Island Coalition, but also we have our tree. So where Hunter to see me, Hunter go I see the root to the tree. And for the Gullah Geechee Sea Island Coalition, there has been a proverb that the ancestors said to me that became the motto of the Gullah Geechee Sea Island Coalition that's gone around the world. I've seen it published in books, sometimes with the correct citation, and many times without any citation, which is how people end up calling stuff African proverbs or a proverb from this culture without saying who initially said it. But Hunter must take care of the root for heal the tree was a saying that the ancestors came to me in a vision and gave me, and that became the motto of the Gullah Geechee Sea Island Coalition. So when we talk about the roots of the tree, we not only talk about those massive, powerful, strong roots that run throughout the Sea Islands due to our mighty oak trees that we have here with them long Spanish moss beards growing off of them, but also the roots of the tree of our ancestry. As you will see this outstanding piece of work, it contains the Gullah Geechee Nation's colors throughout this. This was done for the Gullah Geechee Garden by an artist named Red King Danto. Many of you who watch this program and who are big supporters of Gullah Geechee Rhythm Radio, you're quite familiar with Red King Danto, who also has a show called Cultural Journeys. Well, the Gullah Geechee Nation has continued our cultural journey, not only right here in the Gullah Geechee Nation, but around the world by articulating to people who we be and where the root to we the tree stem, up out the motherland and things like that, but then how this your part, the trunk, this your been moss a branch with there, and things like that, when then children been coming through Sullivan Island. And then when it carry on the children out Chona to all of these your other rest of island and things like that, all the other rest of branch will spread out like this here. And so if we want this your tree for survive and want to want the healing and thing for come on top of, then you have to make sure you take care of the root and things like that, where the power is, where the energy is, even unto this day. And part of our power and energy that we knew kept us encompassed as united people that make up the trunk of our tree was through our language. The linguistics of Gullah Geechees has intrigued people from around the world. Not only those who study world languages, but also those who study anthropology, sociology, history, and now law. When I first went before the United Nations, and that's why I wore this jacket, because this jacket for me represents a crucial day in our story. The first opportunity that I ever had to set foot within the United Nations was one that allowed me to sit before a global body, and it cracked me teeth like a this year, and let in children yeti who we do and who we ancestor been and what been going on right here this year and how we would want them for happy for make sure so we there forever and ever and ever and things like that in Polynesia Island. And so there were so many people, thousands of folks that were stunned, surprised, amazed at, well, wait a minute, who is this woman and what just happened? How come in our air cuffs we can no longer understand her, except those who are there representing Caribbean nations, those who are there representing the nations of the motherland and Africa, and those representing parts of the African diaspora were primarily those who did understand me, but wondered how come I could speak this way and then all of a sudden they're in a crack teeth like Alicia. And they wanted to know what was this other language. They knew when I spoke in English, but what was this other language that I was speaking? And when I said Gullah, they said, what? Where's that? So now this gave an opportunity to educate them about the Sea Islands and what then was being called the Low Country, which is now the Gullah Geechee Nation, from Jacksonville, North Carolina to Jacksonville, Florida. The places that those intercoastal waterway tidal creeks and estuaries spread out just like these branches in the tree. And then each little community, each island, each city that's in this region represents part of this entire circle of connection of Gullah Geechees that still are holding on to our history, heritage, and culture, and part of that is our language. And so on this next little segment, I want to share with you a critical document that is celebrating its 20th anniversary this year, that we just got through having the Minority Forum focused upon this year. And this is the declarations of persons belonging to national, religious, ethnic, and linguistic minorities. This has been a critical United Nations document that helped the Gullah Geechees to even enter the doorways and then stand inside the halls of the United Nations and have our right to self-determination recognized, because we are a national, an ethnic, and linguistic minority on an international human rights level. So for Human Rights Day, we taught them not robbery, for cracking tea to leave wild with her children, and give her a little bit more understanding of this your declaration. But rather was for her to know that we declare who we be, and we be Gullah Geechee, anointed people. This year the Queen Quet, head from the body of the Gullah Geechee Nation, and if her children there with me, her going know that this year the what going on. Now, as many people know, whenever you come into Gullah Geechee TV Nation News, so that you get me to crack with teeth like that and thing like that all the time. And rather was, you can see we flag when you're coming on, you see we flag when we're going off. Well, this is the national flag of the Gullah Geechee Nation. As you see, we be Gullah Geechee anointed people. As you also see in the center, our tree, a family tree, representing human bodies that are intertwined. I also want to read to you this plaque that sits in the Al-Kebulan archive of the Gullah Geechee headquarters for the Gullah Geechee Nation on St. Helena Island, and where the Gullah Geechee Sea Island Coalition does its work, and has the only archive in the world totally dedicated to Gullah Geechee history, heritage, and culture. This plaque was presented by the Gullah Geechee Angel Network to numerous sites along the Gullah Geechee Nation and to individuals who embody a great deal of what this flag embodies for our people. And so I want you to hear this. The Gullah Geechee flag represents those sons and daughters of Africa who were forced to come to America in ships of pain for life of servitude and death. For more than 300 years, the anointed people of the African sun were auctioned off to the highest bidder, torn away from tribal and family ties, systematically deprived of ancient African names, physically and mentally bruised in both body and soul, forced to renounce traditional religions and beliefs, stripped of self-respect, dehumanized, tortured without mercy or moral concern, lynched, raped, denied political access, methodically conditioned to engage in self-hate, and denied any hope of freedom. And after the genocide, we were cheated out of the promised 40 acres and a mule. Yet, the Gullah Geechee anointed people survived like a bright, shining star above adversity to finally be free again. Slavery and the long years of crushing toil gave to anointed people an uncommon strength, existing and preserving the secrets of African technology, science, and motherwit to branch out toward the future and cast the seeds of a newborn Gullah Geechee heritage. Through knowledge and wisdom, the culture ties Africa and African Americans are now spiritually joined through this tie. The circle represents unity created by the use of the Gullah Geechee language, and the golden seal inside the circle represents the legacy of the original African people of the sun. The indigo blue reminds us of the blue sky over the land that grew the sweetgrass that Gullah Geechee people transformed into baskets. Across the vast ocean on indigo blue, the deep living roots of the Gullah Geechee tree are adorned with the victorious emerald crown. You see that right there? An emerald crown that is over this new legacy. The Gullah Geechee flag further represents we as a people, as the authentic original Gullah Geechee nation with lineage to our ancestral legacy. We the people stand as custodians of Gullah Geechee culture and protectors of our human rights and practice our right to self-determination as a national minority ethnic group, and therefore are not just African American, but we are also those who practice and enjoy our own unique culture, and we converse in our own unique language. The Gullah Geechee flag waves high before a people whose mission is to preserve. All right, and now we're actually going into the actual words of our mission statement of the Gullah Geechee Nation. Hear me clearly. Our mission is to preserve, protect, and promote our history, heritage, culture, language, and homeland. It is also a symbol to show our official recognition of governance, our minority rights necessary to accomplish our mission to take care of our community through collective efforts which will provide a healthy environment, care for the well-being of each person, and economic empowerment. Therefore, it is only natural that this symbol shows that we as a people will reserve, maintain, and reclaim all elements of our homeland, which will forever be our base of existence as we remain true to our mission. For we, the people, have the culture and the heritage established and put in motion a healing force to inspire this generation, a strong-willed Gullah Geechee people. We have put this healing force in motion to inspire this generation and those generations to come to work toward creating a state of Gullah Geechee peace, happiness, prosperity, and well-being. So you see, when we say we be Gullah Geechee anointed people, the anointing there, 100 children be healing and anything like that. Well, 100 of Yeti said the water to bring me, the water go take me back. That a part of what they and this young blue and thing like that. And just come here dry on sofa just working indigo and cracky teeth for Carolina race and thing like that. And Carolina gold and red and western seal and cotton. When it become in this your belly the beast, the people that have plenty of the rest of things will become and thing like that and cross over that middle passage and thing what they did. We had some we ancestors them going into this your land where we to protect them with the can that blew up and thing like that, front end to go and thing like that. But when they see the thing going in the ground, life still coming back up home. You see? So in the day, the spirit of the people are dead. But this year, no crown, they cross up. But the 100 no richness they in them. And you see that your gold here, they will call me black gold. You understand? Black cargo, black gold and thing like that. So this your gold for the Carolina grows the rice and they still this your gold for we. You understand? Because we the Gullah Geechee, black gold, anointed people still a stand but represent we legacy in this your land of the Gullah Geechee. This your the Queen Quet, head upon the body of the Gullah Geechee nation. And 100 children know this your the walk wine on. Well, how 100 children do this year the Queen Quet, head upon the body of the Gullah Geechee nation, founder of the Gullah Geechee Sea Island Coalition, coming to honor for Gullah Geechee TV Nation News one more again. From the Gullah Geechee Garden Pond St. Helena Island, South Kakalaki, you're in the Gullah Geechee Nation. This year part of the Gullah Geechee Sea Island Coalition Center. The Al-Kiburan archived another part, which part of the International University of the Gullah Geechee Nation. So plenty of 100 children will come here for do research and things like that. Would be having the opportunity for looking at some of the book and things like this year one, where we came from, which is the legacy of Ebo Landing, Gullah roots of African American culture. Now, the legacy of Ebo Landing is a very interesting story in and of itself. And many times people have asked me, because we have university professors around the world, and we've received the Gustavus Human Rights Award and honorable mention for this book when it was first released. Many people have asked me, why did we name this book The Legacy of Ebo Landing? Because they have heard of the Ebo people of Nigeria being a part of Gullah Geechee Nation history and our ancestry. Ebo Landing is located on St. Simon's Island in Georgia, here in the Gullah Geechee Nation. There were a group of Ebos that had been brought into this region. In fact, the Lazaretto Creek, which runs all the way up to Savannah. And some of the story is that they were sold on historic River Street before being then transplanted to a plantation on St. Simon's Island. Well, in that group, there was also some females, and one female in particular, who people say was the one that made a critical sound that all of the others that were chained together responded to. Many people have heard the song, "Oh, freedom, oh, freedom, oh, freedom, oh, Bowie, and before I be a slave, I gwine be buried in my grave, and gwine home to my God and be free." Well, many believe that that song was inspired by the Gullah Geechees who watched what happened after that critical leader made the sound she made, communicated with her people that looked around the landscape, saw that it looked similar to their homeland, but knew yet it was not their homeland, because they saw the people who were also chained up working in the fields. So with that one sound, as one unit, one body, they then raised their spirits and departed from St. Simon's Island to Ebo Landing. Some say they walked back to the motherland. Some say they flew back to the motherland. In all cases, their power, their energy, and spirit is what was marching, elevating, lifting not only them, but also those who remain chained together on the island, looking at them, and then singing out in the field, standing up their hoes yet in the field, and not working, because they decided that they saw all they needed to be reminded that they had the right to be free. So in this journey of reminding our people around the world that they have a right to be free, that they come from a legacy of those who have stood for self-determination and freedom, we then decided to put together an anthology of works that would educate people who had never heard of us and remind those of us who we Gullah Geechee and things like that of the roots of our tree in North America. So the legacy of Ebo Landing, Gullah Roots of African American Culture, is an anthology that goes through a number of different types of things: art, language, history, foodways. These types of things are all covered within the anthology. But we did not want to conclude it with just the writings or the beautiful images or even recipes. We wanted to conclude it with that which could help the people to go further in maintaining a critical aspect of our story. That it would be and things like that. And for people to understand that he had a right for do this and things like that. So here it is that we included this human rights document that actually had been passed only 4 years before the foundation was poured for the Gullah Geechee Sea Island Coalition to build upon. The United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Persons Belonging to National or Ethnic, Religious, and Linguistic Minorities says the General Assembly, reaffirming that one of the basic aims of the United Nations as proclaimed in its charter is to promote and encourage respect for human rights, for fundamental freedoms for all, without distinction as to race, sex, language, or religion. Reaffirming faith in fundamental human rights, in the dignity and worth of the human person, and the equal rights of men and women of nations large and small. Desiring to promote the realization of principles contained in the Charter of the United Nations, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crimes of Genocide, the International Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination, the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, the Declaration of the Elimination of All Forms of Intolerance and Discrimination based on religion or belief, and the Convention on the Rights of the Child, as well as other relevant international instruments that have been adopted at the universal or regional level and those concluded between individual states members of the United Nations. Inspired by the provisions of Article 27 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights concerning the rights of persons belonging to ethnic, religious, or linguistic minorities, considering that the promotion and protection of the rights of persons belonging to national, ethnic, religious, and linguistic minorities contribute to the political and social stability of states in which they live, emphasizing that the constant promotion and realization of the rights of persons belonging to national or ethnic, religious, and linguistic minorities as an integral part of the development of society as a whole and within a democratic framework based on the rule of law would contribute to the strengthening of friendship and cooperation among peoples and states. Considering that the United Nations has an important role to play regarding the protection of minorities, bearing in mind the work done so far within the United Nations system, in particular, the Commission on Human Rights, the Subcommission on the Prevention of Discrimination and Protection of Minorities, as well as the bodies established pursuant to the International Covenants on Human Rights and other relevant international human rights instruments on promoting and protecting the rights of persons belonging to national or ethnic, religious, and linguistic minorities, taking into account the important work which is carried out by intergovernmental and non-governmental organizations in protecting minorities and in promoting the right of persons belonging to national or ethnic, religious, and linguistic minorities, recognizing the need to ensure even more effective implementation of international instruments with regard to the rights of persons belonging to national or ethnic, religious, and linguistic minorities, proclaims that this Declaration on the Rights of Persons belonging to national or ethnic, religious, and linguistic minorities. Now, many of you who have listened to Gullah Geechee Rhythm Radio, and if you have not, you can go back in our archives of the broadcast and hear each article that makes up this declaration. There are actually 9 articles that follow this opening passage of what this declaration represents and why this declaration was being put forth and then ratified 20 years ago. So in 20 years, we've gone from simply having this United Nations declarations on the rights of persons belonging to national, ethnic, religious, and linguistic minorities to minority groups such as the Gullah Geechee Nation, citizens standing up and declaring themselves not only a nation, but ratifying their own constitution, presenting it to the world, having their own national flag, and consistently being a part of the minority forum at the United Nations, thus bringing alive our tree and bringing these human bodies from it into that circular forum that reconnects people of the world. And now being a part of the Minority Forum and the Indigenous Peoples Forum, we continue to stand for our human right to self-determination and the effective implementation of what was outlined in all 9 articles of this declaration. Because as a linguistic and ethnic minority, we first went into the United Nations. We have since become recognized as a national minority of the United States when in 2006, the Gullah Geechee Cultural Heritage Act was passed by the United States Congress. This was a task that the Gullah Geechee Sea Island Coalition worked on for 9 years. 9 articles, 9 years. I think is pretty balanced to be able to effect change for a group of people who had suffered hardships against them due to the way that the cracky teeth like this year and thing like that, and the way the working land and the way they live off the land and thing like that, down here and thing like that. Still this year, you got children with day in the school and thing like that, with teacher and thing now stand on tall, so then I feel up the children, or then I throw them in some special ed, or throw them in some kind of speech therapy and thing like that, because then I stand when they turn the cracky teeth like a soap. Ain't no such a thing like that, for the insurance for have to do all of that. All they have to do what the Bible to tell them, get understanding. So as you heard mentioned, mother wit earlier, you heard knowledge and wisdom. Well, as many of you know, I love Proverbs. Hunter must take care of the root for heal the tree is not the only proverb I love. The next one I love says, wisdom is the principal thing. So get wisdom, but in all thy getting, get understanding. And so as chiefess and head of state of the Gullah Geechee Nation, and proud founder of the Gullah Geechee Sea Island Coalition that has stood, walked, stomped, prayed, shouted about our human rights and about who we be around the world. I want 100 children to know that this year shouting time for we, because this year time that 100 to help the world forget understanding for who we are down here. That Gullah Geechee black gold, the anointed people, was still a stand for the right to self-determination in the human rights arena. And that is why Human Rights Day means so much to me and should mean so much to all of we. Because it's still got work for do, children. And what we spiritual say, work together, children. Don't you get weary. Great camp meet in the promised land. So we hope that this your day, wherever 100 to be in the world, that you to make up a better land for everybody. That it come to be the whole world, the promised land for all of we. Because everybody gonna have a human right, and everybody gonna be free. So, for all of we children, we're down here, on the land of this your Gullah Geechee, we say the 100 children who to stand with me. Thank you. God bless you, and may God bless up this your Human Rights Day, and may human rights come for all the world children, and they cracky teeth, however the God will bless them will do. So 100 children, 100 there with me. 100 go I know that this year, the work going on, is so glad that you're still joining me. This year the Queen head upon the body of the Gullah Geechee Nation, in this year land, a true emancipation. Peace and blessing.